In 2009, whistleblower journalists exposed a 5-year-long scandal that rocked Luzerne County, Pennsylvania. In what became known as the Kids for Cash scandal, two judges, Mark Civrella and Mike Conahan, accepted over $2.6 million over a 5-year period to put children behind bars.
You are going to experience prison. I'll be glad to put you there.
This is a straightforward instance of bribery, in which the judges placed material gain from private detention facilities before the fundamental purpose of the county court system. That said, Kids for Cash is not the only type of corruption occurring in the U.S. due to the growth of the privatized prison industry. In the first decade of the 21st century, the U.S. prison population grew by 18%, while the prison population in privatized prisons grew by 80%. So what is it that privatized prisons have going for them? Private correctional facilities pitch themselves as providing the same services as government-funded prisons, but at a lower cost. There is more, however, than claims of cost saving. Private prison companies, including America's two largest conglomerates, Corrections Corporation of America and the GEO Group, offer cheap labor.
It's absolutely a perfect idea. I have a workforce that does not have car problems or babysitting problems, etc. They're always here and they're always willing to come to work.
Bring your business to our labor.
Private prisons stand to make a profit if they can fill their facilities, which is why private prisons enter into agreements with the state or the federal government to maintain a high number of prisoners. What this has led to, however, are cases where privatized prison companies are gaming the system. A report by the Justice Policy Institute sees this use of influence to make profits occurring in three main ways: through lobbying, campaign contributions, and relationships. To give an example, CCA has spent over $1.4 million per year on in-house lobbying. The goal, from the perspective of the private prison company, is to create laws that will keep prison populations high. In Arizona, for example, this meant contributions and model legislation drafting that led to a law imposing stricter policies for putting immigrants behind bars. The purpose of the criminal justice system is to deliver justice for all, by convicting and punishing the guilty and helping them to stop offending while protecting the innocent. Crime rates, changing populations, and new legislation might all be influences that affect the number of people going to prison. Privatized prisons, by influencing politics through financial contributions and lobbying, are causing the justice system to deviate from its purpose, weakening public trust in the system.
I hate private prisons with a passion that is indescribable. And the reason why I say that is because we lock away more people than any other country in the world, okay? Peter, jump in.
I would disagree there. I think there's nothing really wrong with private prisons if you did the right incentives. So right now the incentive is you keep the most number of people as cheap per person as you can.
How can we redesign incentives to make sure that the prisoners in privatized facilities are sentenced there as fair punishment for their crime, instead of as a commodity in a free market system? Over 90% of the prisoners in private systems are low to medium security risk, so their crimes are not particularly violent. Within this capitalist system, then, we could realign incentives such that the private prisons are financially motivated to prevent citizens from committing crimes. One way to do this is to have the government pay private prisons when citizens who have completed their sentence do not commit further crimes in the ensuing years. For example, if a citizen has gone 1 year out of prison without committing a crime, the government pays that facility $1,000. The longer the time, the more money the private prison receives. This redirects money away from putting people behind bars and towards solutions that prevent crime from happening. One weakness to this proposal is that it could merely shift strict legislation on crime to looser policies, which does not remove the political influence that private prisons already have. At the same time, the solution might prompt front-end investment in treatment and services that could greatly benefit communities. A second solution involves removing private prisons entirely, which has already occurred in about 10 states. Studies do not actually conclusively support cost savings, and other research has revealed the negative impact of the private system. If states and the federal government do not see private prisons as offering financial incentives, then they will perhaps be less likely to engage in the lobbying and campaign efforts that the private industry supports. As always, the solution is not perfect, but it can prevent bribery and gaming.